Hi, Idina.
Hi.
How are you?
So good to see you.
So good to see you always.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other night, was it your first time seeing it with an audience?
Yeah, I saw it at a screening with just the cast and the creative team
Right.
2 weeks ago at like a fancy banquet.
Oh, a
The
banquet. They
animation
giving you a
Yeah.
banquet.
But the premiere was the first time with a real audience.
What's it like hearing the kids' voices just laughing?
Laughing, asking so many questions. My son actually looked over at me and said, "That was badass, Mom."
That's what he said?
Yeah, which is a
Wow.
big deal because he often, sort of doesn't allow me to be as cool as I think that I am, especially having Frozen cred. So he gave me that. Plus, he doesn't like to, whenever I sing, he tells me to shut up. So,
Does he really?
Yeah. Remember when your parents used to sing in the car or whatever?
My
It was
parents
so
were not
embarrassing.
Idina Menzel singing to me.
Exactly. It's probably why it makes it worse. No, it's magical, actually. And for it to sort of live it lives on so many levels. This film, especially, which I think is really brilliant about it. It's going to resonate with so many people. There's so many deep themes. I mean, it doesn't patronize to the kids or condescend. I think that, but there's some really spiritual, sort of existential themes about it that I think the grown-ups will appreciate.
So how have Anna and Elsa changed from Frozen 1 to Frozen 2?
I think that in Frozen 1 they're more, it's more internal. It's sort of the relationship is explored sort of amongst their dynamic with their family and who they are to each other. And in the second movie, it's the two of them kind of going out into the world and seeing, what their purpose is in the world. In a lot of ways it hasn't changed because it's still this sort of fierce loyalty that they have for each other that I think is what was so beautiful about the first film and continues in this movie. I know that feeling because I feel it from my younger sister. They just stand up for each other. They have each other's backs. And what I love in this film is they really want each other to find that thing in themselves that makes them truly feel fulfilled and happy and realized and authentic. They really want that for each other.
So whose idea was it to make fun of Let It Go in Frozen 2?
I'm not sure. Maybe the songwriters, the composers. I'm not sure about that.
Have you ever had to tell? Okay, this I don't know how to.
He makes fun of Let It Go, and he also makes fun of the way she walks.
Yeah. So, have you ever had to tell someone, like if someone says, "Oh, they don't know you as Idina Menzel," I'm like, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, a singer or an actress." Anything I know. Have you ever said, "Well, there's this song, Let It Go"?
Yeah, sometimes that's how I do it.
Really?
Well,
and how do they react?
No, because sometimes I just did it somewhere. Where was I? Where I was like, I'm a little ashamed because I wanted to get my son into the doctor earlier for something that was happening, and I didn't feel like the receptionist knew who I was, and I'm in the middle of this junket, and I didn't want to act like my life and my problems were bigger than anybody else's, but the schedule is such that it is. It's like I had to take him before we got here, before school, and she wasn't moving, and she was like, "I'm 3 weeks from now," and I was like, "I gotta get my kid in. I'm about to go to London," and so then I was like, "I don't know. I'm an actress, and I have to get to this premiere tonight. Do you have any daughters? It's called Let It Go, and it's called Frozen, and I sing Let It Go, but it's okay. If you don't have time, I'm sure I'll find a way to get in there. Just put me in for 3 weeks from now. Call me if there's any cancellations." That's usually what I do.
I'll just let it go. And what did she do?
No, she actually didn't give a shit. And that teaches me a lesson. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes like a taxi driver will say something, or they hear me singing in the taxi, like warming up on the way to somewhere, and I don't want to say anything, but then I kind of like give it away a little bit.
Are you ready to sing Into the Unknown at the Oscars?
Yeah.
You did it
well,
already.
there are 2 songs, first of all, in this film that I think are spectacular. And waiting to see if kids or people gravitate to one more than the other, because I think they're both really special. But that was like lightning in a bottle, all that stuff. And the truth is that when you do a sequel like this, there's a lot of pressure and all that. But
Right.
I've really taught myself the older I'm getting to really try not to be result oriented and to really surround yourself with people you love to work with, because life's too short, and to enjoy the process. And I did every step of the way. I love working on this film. I love everybody involved, and I loved singing the music and the songs they gave me, and interpreting them and figuring them out. And so if that stuff happens, that would be great. But I'm not depending on it.
Frozen 3?
Sure.
Do you think there'll be one?
Well, I guess it's unprecedented that there is a sequel to a Disney musical movie in the first place.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Keep going.
Yeah,
Keep making history.
Let's see how we do. That's up to them. Whatever they feel. I'll say that what I respect so much about Jennifer and Chris Buck, the writers and directors, is that they really were not sort of exploitive and or trying to make a sequel for the sake of economics and all that kind of stuff and box office. They really waited, and they were patient and kind of waiting till the story informed them and what they felt was important to say. And that's why it took longer than you would think.
Do you think there should be an Oscar for voice performance?
That's a good question. Do you?
There's a part of me that says yes. I mean, I look at and listen to Billy Eichner in Lion King, Josh Gad, the two of you. I mean, why not? I mean, you're acting, no?
No, we're totally acting, and
I guess you would fall into the acting category, but I feel like it's
maybe if it was just that kind of category.
Right.
Maybe, or maybe there's a zone little awards thing on a Thursday night for
I think there is.
There is? Well, I've never been nominated.
Hello. On the other side of the spectrum of Frozen 2 is Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite movies of the year.
It's great, isn't it?
I'm obsessed. No, like
I know.
In the office, everyone's like, Mark, shut up about
It's a nauseating roller coaster trip.
How did you get involved with that? Who called you?
I don't know exactly. I think I was doing Skin Tight, this play at the Roundabout in New York, and I think maybe Scott Rudin had seen it, and he was working with the Safdie brothers, and so then we went out and we had lunch. But I was just excited to work with edgy, new filmmakers.
Opposite Adam Sandler in a way you've never seen him before.
But in Punch Drunk Love, he was amazing. I think like comedians get this weird rap. Everybody makes such a big deal about it when they're like, do have a great acting performance. I mean, comedians are the most courageous the artists, I think, out there, and what they have to do with their instrument and their body and their it's just incredible. And I don't know why we're always so surprised. I mean, he does his goofy stuff, but you can tell he's just such a deep, soulful person, and he's so much fun to work with. Just the most generous, sweetest guy that there is. And we just played in a very chaotic on a very chaotic set. There's sort of a method to their madness. And
what is that method? Is it just throw it all up against the wall and see what happens?
No, they really get to know their environment and the world that they're in. Yeah. And then they have a script, and you start with it, and then you get rid of it, and then you come back to it, and you got Benny Safdie, who's one of the brothers who holds the boom, so he's right there a foot away from you in the room, and then you have Josh, who's behind the monitor, yelling out things, say this to him, and then and you just kind of got to go with the flow, and then you have Adam, who improvises all the time, but most of the time, our best stuff was when he just looked me in the eyes and this more intimate stuff, and we just talked to each other. And really, I feel like, I'm the only one in the movie that's kind of like the truth serum person.
For him,
the only time he literally comes home and has a reality check, and it's the only sort of reprieve in that whole crazy ride that you're on in the film.
How much fun was it just going back to your Long Island roots?
Yeah, it was easy. It's not like I'll be honest. I do my homework and everything, and I prepare, but it's really easy for me to tap into one of those ladies. I know several of them, including myself a little bit.
Yeah?
There's a part of me, maybe, that if I never got out of Long Island would have ended up
Listen, I'm from Queens,
her.
so you could take the boy out of Queens.
I know. It was from Rent too, remember?
Yeah.
You can take the girl out of Hicksville,
Yes,
you can't take the Hicksville out of the girl.
girl.
And so I was from Syosset, but there were too many syllables in that, so he changed it to Hicksville.
Is that right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Syosset. Oh, yeah.
Can't take the girl out of Syosset.
Hicksville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who knew that?
Funny.
Wow. So what musical would you love to do? If someone came to you and said, here's whatever money you need, this is the musical you could do, which would it be?
One that we all know, because I enjoy originating and being part of new projects. I really do, and I love the process. And it's a long process, but I love that, and I like supporting new composers and writers. The only one is if there was a way to figure out how to do it as a good flashback would be Funny Girl. That's the only one I grew up with.
Why not?
Well, I'm starting to age out of it, so they'd have to find a really cool way to approach it.
Funny older woman.
From Fanny's life later, looking back at her marriage or something like that.
So should Ariana Grande play Elphaba?
Well, I know Ariana, and I know she wants that very badly, and I think she's incredible. So, but I'm not going to get into it with Mark Platt, because I still think that I should be Elphaba, and I should just slap that green makeup on me and get some CGI and Benjamin Button the shit out of that, and I'll play it. I love you, Ariana, but I still am relevant here. You get rid of a couple smile lines, and
the green makeup will cover it all up.
Avatar, come on, give me a break.
Oh, so you have this all thought out already.
Yeah, Kristen, I'm going to bring it back. Just bring a couple lines out. Not in Kristen's face, but in my own.
Here we go.
I want it for both of us. Yeah.
What does it feel like to be a part of such songs that are part of everyone's cultural vocabulary? Defying Gravity, Let It Go.
Yeah.
When you were first starting out in the business, was that a dream? Is it something that you could even dream of?
No, I had no idea. I'm proud of it. I really am. I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of it because there are they're not just successful songs or hits necessarily, because they haven't even, Let It Go got played on the radio, but they're songs that are of a generation, of a time. They're songs that resonate with a young audience and what they're trying to say, and when they feel like they're not being seen, or they're afraid of that thing in them that makes them different, and ostracizes them, and that sort of anthem that the song that gives them permission to say, I'm unique and I'm different, but that's what's going to make me really exceptional and extraordinary in the world. And we don't get that when we're younger. It's so hard. We don't want to feel different than everybody. We don't realize that thing that makes us goofy or weird or quirky is going to be the thing that draws people to us. And that I get as I'm older. I still have a hard time. It's hard to be a role model and sing these iconic songs sometimes when you're having your own bad day and you feel like you're full of shit, know? And so what I love so much about these projects, Wicked and Frozen, is that they're constant reminders to me. One, how lucky I am to have them in my life, but also just to remind me to practice what I preach, and to remember that what I have is something really special, and what I offer the world, and that I need to put that out there and celebrate that, and not kind of. I feel like as women, I'm sorry, I'm going.
No, go ahead.
But I feel like as women, we're afraid of our anger or of our large emotions. We're afraid to be too much. And I still feel that a lot. I feel like I'm still wrestling with how to navigate that, and what makes me beautiful and attractive and powerful. And so I just feel so lucky to have these songs that make me explore that every time I have to get on stage somewhere in the world and sing it to little girls.
That's amazing. Well, we're ending the interview, so it's perfect timing. It's always good seeing you.
You too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Into the Unknown doesn't. It's in my.
I have a holiday album. Should we talk about that?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. I forgot about Jews for Jesus.
Jews for Jesus.
That's what I call it. I always call the Streisand album Jews for Jesus.
Yes. No, it's true. You come at it from a place of really wanting everyone to feel included. You know, and also as Jews for Jesus, as Jews, we were jealous. We wanted to partake in all the Christmas traditions. And as a singer, I've always wanted to sing Holy Night or Ave Maria, you know, and so I did. But I have this original song on the album called At This Table that I'm really proud of. I wrote it with a friend, Jonas Mirren, who actually wrote a lot of songs on Barbara's last album. And it's called At This Table, and it's really about acceptance and inclusivity and sort of forgiveness, and the people that feel like they're not seen in this world feeling like they can come home. And so we wrote that, and it's just said holidays to us, like it's kind of Thanksgiving song in a way. And then I was like, with Frozen coming out and really like having this great fall winter, would be great to start, you know, to go in the studio and do a bunch of holiday songs. So I did a lot of big band and R&B, and it's kind of eclectic, but it's really fun. And I'm excited. Ariana Grande's on it.
Know.
She sings on a song that the Lopez's wrote. I asked the Lopez's to write me an original song, and they came back with their feminist Christmas song called A Hand for Mrs. Claus.
I was listening to it this morning.
And thank you. And then Josh Gad sings on one of the songs with me, which is a throwback to an old Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby song, and then Billy Porter. Wow. So it's a lot. And my husband, actually, who has a beautiful voice, sings with me. So
thank you, Idina.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Thanks
Thank you.